A preseason game Saturday afternoon. Leading up to that, all eyes are on the Browns quarterback situation. Shedeur Sanders started their last preseason game. However, Joe Flacco is listed as QB1 on the depth chart, while Dillon Gabriel and Kenny Pickett have been dealing with injuries. All four quarterbacks were on the field today, but one of their days ended prematurely. Our reporter Sal Paolantonio and NFL analyst Mina Kimes here with us in studio. And Sal, you were at those joint practices. What more can you tell us about Shedeur Sanders and the morning that he had?
Well, here's what we know. I mean, after practice, Kevin Stefanski, the head coach of the Cleveland Browns, was not available to the media, but I did talk to him on the field as the players were coming off, and he told me that Shedeur Sanders complained of oblique soreness during the warm-ups this morning, and they made a decision to shut him down. They had planned to use him in the joint practices with the Philadelphia Eagles today, but they decided to shut him down, make sure that he's okay, so maybe he can come out here tomorrow, Thursday, for the last joint practice and be available for Saturday's preseason game. As a result, what you saw on the field was a lot of Dillon Gabriel, the rookie, and a lot of Joe Flacco, the 40-year-old veteran. And I caught up with Joe Flacco one-on-one after practice, and I asked him, how is Shedeur Sanders handling the ups and the downs and the spotlight of his rookie season? Here's his answer.
Shedeur does a great job with that. I mean, I think I think he's been around it a good amount, so he knows how to handle it and stay even and not really let it affect him. So,
what does this Browns team got to do offensively to be better than they were last year, Joe?
I think we just got to be physical and use that physicality to our advantage. I think anytime you want to be good on offense in this league, it starts with that. It starts with the guys up front and giving them the ability to play fast and play physical.
Play fast, play physical. Translation, this Kevin Stefanski offense is going to be recommitted to running the ball with 40-year-old Joe Flacco, and it looks like he is going to be the Week 1 starter, and Dillon Gabriel will play most of the game on Saturday. Kenny Pickett still remains up in the air with that hamstring injury. So does Shedeur Sanders right now. His status is very much up in the air. They are going to check him out, get him an MRI to see what damage, if any, he did to that oblique during warm-ups, Amina.
Yeah, another turn in the quarterback situation out there in Cleveland. Sal, thanks so much for that insight. Amina, I want to bring you in right here. You heard what Sal Paolantonio just had to say about Shedeur Sanders coming out of practice today. Your reaction to that?
You don't want to have an overreaction. Sounds like a minor injury, of course, but I will say for a player like Shedeur, who is competing for almost the right to compete. Every snap is crucial. Many teams in the NFL treat joint practices as having more importance than preseason games, frankly. The fact that he got to play so much in preseason Week 1 was a huge advantage in his competition with Dillon Gabriel, seems like, for QB2. It's also an opportunity to learn. You know, one thing I thought watching him play in that first preseason game, he looked accurate, thought he made good decisions, but you also saw him getting used to NFL speed. There were some moments where he was bailing on the pocket like he did in college. He has to learn. He can't do that in the NFL, but the only way he can learn that is by being on the field. So you want him to get back on the field as soon as possible.
The key that you mentioned at the top, not to overreact. So hopefully everyone could just take a back seat, maybe take a little bit of a breath. On the other side, this Eagles offense is stacked. What's your biggest question about the Eagles offense in that unit coming into this season?
Aside from the new offensive coordinator, Kevin Patullo, coming in, that's not really a big concern for me. I would just say some of the injuries that they've had on the interior of the offensive line. Landon Dickerson's status is up in the air, their starting guard, because that is an area where they have one of the very few changes on this offense. Mekhi Becton, who was the starting guard last year, is now in the Chargers. You have likely Tyler Steen coming in his place. So anytime you have a lot of change in one specific area, it starts to add up. Like, right, the Landon Dickerson injury wouldn't concern me as much if not for the fact they're also replacing another player on the interior, and that has been such a strength for this Eagles offense, the offensive line and the interior, so that's something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it all shakes out. The Eagles open their season 3 weeks from tomorrow against the Cowboys. Mina Kimes with the latest. Thanks so much.
This just in on CBS Sports HQ. Browns rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders injured his oblique during practice today, putting his status in doubt for Saturday's preseason game against the Eagles. He's the latest quarterback on Cleveland's roster who has dealt with a health issue, joining fellow rookie Dillon Gabriel and Kenny Pickett. Sanders, who is trying to fight his way up the Browns' depth chart, started the preseason opener last week and threw 2 touchdowns. Let's welcome on our NFL on CBS reporter Aditi Kinkhabwala. Aditi, this is a team, this is a division that you have covered for a very, very long time in the Browns in the AFC North. We're hearing that Shedeur has injured his oblique during practice. So how concerning is this for Shedeur as he is trying to, again, make his way up the depth chart, be QB2, potentially QB1 in the future? Should we be ringing alarm bells, or is it a little bit preliminary for that?
Well, Jacqueline, first of all, it's a little bit premature because we don't know the severity of this oblique injury and whether it will even keep him out of Saturday's game against the Eagles. As for moving up the depth chart, I'm the Browns preseason sideline reporter. I was there Friday night when he burst onto the stage and set the NFL world buzzing. And yes, his demeanor was tremendous. His poise was tremendous. He did the things that were asked of him. But at the end of the day, he wasn't actually asked to do all that much. The Browns kept things very simple. It was run game. It was play action pass game. Very, very simple motions. He saw very basic defense from the Panthers. And while he did indeed make some great throws, he did show some accuracy. None of that was enough for the Browns and Kevin Stefanski to feel that he needed to jump up the depth chart. When the depth chart was released this week, he was still number 4 because, as you and I know, Jacqueline, there are a myriad of things that go into being a starting quarterback in the NFL. As of right now, Joe Flacco is still the Browns' number 1 quarterback. He's the one that's taking the majority of the reps against the Eagles in these joint practices. Kenny Pickett, who has been number 2, who was one to start camp until he hurt his hamstring so severely, is still trying to come back from that hamstring. And then rookie Dillon Gabriel also tweaked a hamstring last week. He didn't get to play against the Panthers. If his hamstring is okay, he was likely the one to start on Saturday versus the Eagles, with Shedeur Sanders playing the second half. So I don't know that this long-term affects where he's moving or short-term affects where he's moving, but as someone who's calling the game Saturday, I'm certainly hoping this isn't that significant, and I do indeed get to see him Saturday because people are interested, Jacqueline. They're tuning in when he's on.
Of course, there are a lot of eyeballs on Shedeur, and of course we're just hearing too, Dillon Gabriel just spoke, and he doesn't know if he's going to be able to play against the Eagles as he's dealing with the hamstring injury. If we look at this, big picture, Aditi, this Browns quarterback room is very, very crowded. There's a lot of quarterbacks in there, to your point. And Shedeur is now, another one of 3 that's dealing with an injury. We talked about Dillon Gabriel. We talked about Kenny Pickett. Is this concerning at all that there's so many quarterbacks and we're already seeing 3 of them dealing with injuries, even if we don't necessarily know the severity ahead of the regular season?
I think it's unfair to tag anybody with that in any way. This is sort of feels as if it's 3 separate instances that are 3 bad pieces of luck. But of course, you do need healthy bodies in there. You need a backup. That's why they signed Snoop Huntley, who was here for a long time in Baltimore. He's someone that had spent time in Cleveland. He is a tremendous teammate. He has a great demeanor, very professional. He was able to come in on 2 days and execute exactly what the Browns asked of him last week. So there's a healthy body there that can certainly play in a preseason game. But again, I was told that Dillon Gabriel's outlook was certainly a little bit better than Kenny Pickett's. We don't know how bad this is with Shedeur Sanders just yet. So before we hit the panic button, let's get a little bit of information. Now, if Gabriel and Sanders are both out for a while, then we can go ahead and panic because it's 40-year-old Joe Flacco then.
Aditi, we certainly appreciate it, and we're looking forward to seeing you out there on Saturday as well, and then also everything coming out of Ravens camp as well. Great to see you, Aditi, and of course joining us here for that news. If you're just